Today, we're diving into one of the all-time great American tragedies, Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman. It's the story of a man whose whole life was built on a dream that was, well, pretty much doomed from the start.
And really, at its core, the whole play boils down to one simple but absolutely devastating question. What is the real cost of a dream? Especially when that dream is the American dream. It's a question that just hangs over every character and every broken promise in this story.
So, who's our main guy? Meet Willy Loman. He's a 63-year-old traveling salesman, and when we meet him, he's just dragging himself back to his little house in Brooklyn, completely exhausted and defeated. He's a man who can feel the walls closing in, both literally and, in his own mind.
And this is where it all starts to unravel. You see this massive gap between how Willy sees himself and what's actually happening. In his head, he's still this big-shot salesman. Everybody loves him. But the real story? He's barely holding it together, getting lost in memories. He can't even finish his trips anymore. And that internal conflict, that powerful self-deception, man, that's what drives this entire play.
And of course, it's not just Willy. His whole family is caught up in the fallout of his dream. You've got Linda, his wife, who's so fiercely loyal. She sees what's happening. She sees the tragedy, but she just keeps protecting his fragile ego. And then there are the boys. Biff, he was supposed to be the golden boy, the football star, but now he's 34 and totally adrift. And Happy, the younger one, he's just desperately trying to live up to his dad's version of success, which for him means faking it till you make it.
So the family is pinning all their hopes on this one last kind of Hail Mary plan. Biff is going to go see his old boss, a guy named Bill Oliver, and ask for a loan. The big idea is to start a ranch out west. It's this final, desperate shot at making something of himself, and maybe, just maybe, finally living up to his father's crushing expectations.
Now, if you really want to understand why Biff is so lost and why Willy is just falling apart, you have to look back. The play does this brilliant thing where it weaves in all these flashbacks, and we see Willy's mind just constantly slipping back into the past, to the moments that both defined and, well, destroyed his family. And everything, seriously everything, hinges on this one moment. Before Boston, Biff was the guy, a high school football hero with a bright future. But he flunks math, so he goes to Boston to get help from his hero, his dad. And what he finds in that hotel room, it doesn't just break his heart, it shatters his entire world. It completely derailed his life for the next 14 years.
Just listen to this. When Willy says this to Biff, it's not just, good luck, son. It's a command. Willy is pouring all of his own unfulfilled dreams into his son, and that pressure is just immense. It makes Biff's fall from grace that much more devastating.
Willy's got another ghost rattling around in his head too, his older brother, Ben. This guy is like a legend, the one who walked into the jungle as a kid and came out rich. Ben is the ultimate symbol of that get-rich-quick success that Willy never found, and it's a stark contrast to Willy's own lifetime of thankless work on the road. All right, so now we get to the day of reckoning. This is the pivotal day where everything just comes crashing down. In one single afternoon, every last hope for Willy and his sons is about to be systematically and brutally dismantled. And what's so brutal is how it all happens in parallel. On the very same day, Willy goes to his boss begging for a desk job and gets coldly fired by a guy who's more interested in his new recorder. At the exact same time, Biff's big meeting with Bill Oliver is a humiliating disaster. The guy doesn't even remember him. In just a few hours, bam, both father and son are completely rejected. So Willy has just lost the only job he's had his entire adult life. He's devastated, and he wanders over to a restaurant where he's supposed to be celebrating his son's new business venture. Instead, he's walking straight into the final confrontation, a broken man with absolutely nothing left.
Okay, here we go. This is the big one, the climax of the whole story. All the lies, all the delusions, all the resentment that has been poisoning this family for years is about to just explode.
The dinner is a catastrophe. Biff tries to gently tell his dad the bad news, but Willy can't even hear it. His mind snaps right back to that hotel room in Boston, and he completely unravels. And his sons, humiliated and just unable to cope, do the unthinkable. They leave him there. They abandon their father and take off with 2 women.
Back at the house, the gloves are finally off. The brutal truth comes pouring out. Biff lays it all on the table. He's not some great leader of men. He's a failure who's been in jail. And he screams it at his father, "Pop, I'm a dime a dozen, and so are you." He blames his entire wasted life on the false dreams and hot air his dad fed him.
And this is the most heartbreaking part. As Biff is breaking down, sobbing, Willy doesn't see the anger or the pain. In his delusional state, all he sees is love. He thinks, isn't that magnificent? He loves me. He believes he's finally gotten through. And that tragic misreading of the situation, it seals his fate. And in that moment, an idea clicks in Willy's head. $10,000. That's the number on his life insurance policy. And he thinks, this is it. This is my last sale. This is the one tangible thing I can leave Biff to give him a start.
So you have to ask yourself, what is this really? Is Willy making a noble sacrifice so his son can have a future? Or is this just the ultimate delusion? The salesman making one final sale, where the product is his own life, because he believes it's worth more dead than alive. The play ends with a requiem, a quiet, somber postscript to Willy's loud and desperate life. He always talked about how well-liked he was, how his funeral would be packed with people from all over. The reality? Almost no one came. In the end, the sons choose completely opposite paths. Biff, finally free from his father's lies, accepts who he is and decides to go west for a simple, honest life. But Happy, tragically, vows to stay and fight, to win the very same dream that just destroyed his father. For him, the cycle continues. And we're left with Linda's haunting final words at Willy's grave. They've finally paid off the house. In a financial sense, they're free. But that freedom is completely hollow, bought at an impossible price. And she just can't understand why he did it, because he had the one thing he always claimed to want, a family who loved him. And in the end, it just wasn't enough. A truly devastating conclusion to an American masterpiece.